Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to be working on Eagles and Rifles. Or more specifically, because I finally decided on a good thing to put at the end of it. Eagles and Rifles, Hymne de l'Ogre, otherwise known as Hymn of the Ogre. Why did I end up calling it Hymn of the Ogre? Or an Ogre hymn? Because I could, and I thought it sounded neat, and reaching toward heaven didn't really work. But Hymn of the Ogre is going to be a thing about our commitment, what our plan is for this game. And that plan, at the very simplest, is we want to make this about the Ogre companies more. We want to learn more about being effectively a mercenary regiment of Napoleonic warriors, doing your best to make it rich or die trying. Probably die. So, hello everybody. Hopefully everyone's doing good. Two reasons why we're streaming a little bit late tonight. First things first, I've been hunting down to see what games are ideal, what games to be playing on certain times. I think that could be, that'd be fun to see what cool games are out there, see what people might want to play or see. So keep tuned for that, because people seem to like the MCD stream yesterday. So why not do more? By games, do you mean Vidya? Yes, I do mean Vidya. People were recommending Tides of Numenera, Tides of Torrent. So people, yeah, we were talking about Super Hot. That was the thing. We were talking about Super Hot, and then MCD, and then I'm like, yeah, I have MCD, let's play. Even though I don't like it. But yeah, no, it's, there was a few games that people were recommending that I play. One of them was Numenera. Tides of Torment Numenera, otherwise known as Monty Cook's Wild Ride. I was trying to find short CRPGs, games that were just pretty short, pretty easy to get a hold of. What is? I don't need you. Games that were just pretty easy to get into, pretty short, and didn't take too long to do. So I'm like, okay, these seem kind of interesting. I did find one game that I thought it's kind of interesting because it's a great fucking name, and it's the Accursed Crown of the Giant King. Yes, this is the Accursed Crown of the Giant King. It's a game. It's a CRPG, kind of simple, but you know what? I'm in. It looks kind of janky, and it is kind of janky. But you know what? That's the fun thing. That's the fun part, right? Going into these games. Kind of learning about them, so why not? Yes, people seem to like the Tides of Numenera. Apparently there are some bugs in it that, like, kill quests. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant to being like, I'm gonna pick this up. Like, there are some bugs which just absolutely murk like save games and stuff. So I'm like, I'm not really feeling that too hot. Simple, reliable, or kind of silly games, or we may just continue doing very light little games. So I may always be the #1 streamer of these things, the #1 streamer of obscure games nobody's ever heard about, because I find that amusing. Hello, phone. But yeah, that was kind of what I was doing. I was also following up on the drive-through fiasco, seeing how that's kind of progressing over time, and the answer is poorly. It is progressing poorly, everybody. That's been kind of a disaster area since day one, and I'm curious to see how that goes. What's the drive-through fiasco? We were talking about this earlier. It's on Men. Yeah, this is the Men RPG. It's this Red Room thing. Apparently, people have been reaching out to drive-through, not these guys, talking about like, hey, what the fuck is up with this? Which led to pretty much this guy was posting you got some new censorship stuff going on. Apparently, they were emailed. This was the big story that I was kind of reading earlier a little bit. Initially considered a case of hostile marketing, we uncovered many Twitter and Facebook posts as well as YouTube videos in which you and your partner have attacked, ridiculed, and insulted both DTRPG and its staff over the past year. I will say that you have always seemed polite via email, which makes your demeanor elsewhere shocking by comparison. Your animosity was regulated to social media, thus previously and largely by those few team members who manage our social media accounts. You have demonstrated that you will not respect the confidentiality of any communications, so you can understand why I'm not prepared to share any further details with you. Yeah, we were kind of talking about this the other day. A little bit about that. Simply because, how did they fall for the bait? They fell for it because they weren't paying attention. And it's one of those things he was deliberately baiting. And that was just, is it really just about men? Yes. But people have been hopping on it at this point because like, oh, well, you can't now speak bad about drive-thru-RPG anywhere else, which is a little bit wonky. What the fuck did I just walk into? Men. So the full timeline, what I've been able to understand is the Red Room creates a game called Men, which is a satire RPG of masculine manliness and bullshit like that. They put it on drive-thru-RPG, it gets taken down and flagged. Then they get their publisher account deleted. They pretty much get told, hey, we are getting rid of you permanently now. You are gone, goodbye, you fail. You don't get to have nice things. And it was like, oh, which has led to people now reaching out to drive-thru-RPG on their, not necessarily on Red Room's behalf, but people associated with the Red Room, and them re-clarifying with the Red Room, oh, it's hostile marketing, but other people have been told different things. However, this is all prefaced on the idea that Red Room has been very hostile toward DTRPG in the past, or, negative connotations, negative videos, and stuff like that, which led to this. Why I think this is kind of an interesting, weird fiasco development, is because it's just galvanizing support for a very particular group of people who were always, maybe not always on board, and this is one of the more overt things. And there's been a lot of eyes on it, and it's one of the more overt, points of, oh, you are bad, drive-thru-RPG bad, which has been driving a lot to this other company called Big Geek Emporium. This is Big Geek Emporium. You can't even see, here's Dames of Astoria on sale, no less. Games of your making, featuring PDFs, print to demand, 3D models, and more for your tabletop RPGs. There aren't actually that much here. As you can kind of see, Men's one of their biggest games right here. There really isn't much here, to be perfectly frank. I've tried to figure out, who are these people? That's, Big Geek Emporium, Big Geekus, Big Geek US, marketplace called Big Geek Emporium, So Close, print on demand, BigGeekPodcast.com. They have a podcast, apparently. I haven't really looked into these guys at all. A podcast about TTRPG D&D with a strong OSR bent. Randy Nichols. Oh, Gamers, Christians, Grognards. That's a good Randy Nick. Let's do a little bit of digging. Why don't we? So this is Randy Nichols. If ties that Joe Harden to Randy Nichols. This isn't even fucking loading. Do we have anything? Kind of hard to find anything about this guy. Yeah, Biggest Geekest podcast. Looks like he's been doing. Yeah, this is what this guy does apparently. Let's see. Does he have a Patreon? Let's play a game. Does he have a Patreon? What's the other one? Joe Harden. These names sound familiar. I don't know why I know them. Not Joe Hardy. Joe Harden. Yeah, biggest geekest our podcast. These are really the only thing I can find on these two. Yeah, donate, free support, Streamlabs. Yeah, these are the guys who are like, a lot of traffic's been getting driven to them. Galvanizing support for loud, obnoxious retards who want to be the victim. Yeah, honestly. Now, here's the here's the thing. You gotta remember this, Ethical. This is the most important thing. It doesn't matter of any previous history. It never doesn't matter anything like that. What they effectively did was shoot themselves in the foot and say, "Oh man, why'd you give me the gun?" They deliberately did this to fuck with people, and they damn well know. Yeah, it's exactly, being the victim is cool. You get points. You get bonus points. And nobody, it doesn't matter how negative you are when the terms of drive-through RPG censors us. Drive-through RPG censors your books. You can't speak negatively about drive-through RPG. You can't do anything negative. You can't do bad. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. It could be for a very good reason. I don't really follow the Red Room at all, but could be for a very good reason, but yeah, that's exactly, when I saw it, I'm like, this is either going to be ridiculously satire, funny haha moments, or it's a deliberate, you know. Yeah, it knew exactly what it was doing. Yeah, look how we're controversial. Oh, so edgy. Yeah, they were they knew exactly what they were doing, and they did exactly what. Then drive-through played directly into their hands, and now a lot of people have probably looked at them probably more than ever before, because they started shit. That's what you do. The Andrew Tate grind set, everybody, right? Again, we don't have any confirmation on that. It could have been just them flagging it. That's the thing. It could have been just them flagging it. Or it could have been other people flagging it. We don't know. And I don't think the Red Room's going to be like, we flagged our own game. No. Who knows? That's not the point. It's... that's not the point. It's not a false flag operation. The Polish attacked us. Like, it's not a false, it's a false flag. It's either it's a complete false flag or it's not. Both of which doesn't matter anymore. It's what's done is done. Drive-through played their hand, and they played their hand directly into what they wanted. And yeah. Besides drive-through and itch.io, how else are you supposed to get your PDFs out there? Black magic, cryptic sorcery, internet backrooms, blood sacrifice to unspeakable gods beyond the colors of time, personal distribution. There really isn't any other storefronts. There really isn't. And again, people like to say, oh, our hobby is super healthy and awesome and amazing. There really isn't other storefronts outside of very particular storefronts. We have, for everyone else who isn't a big company, you have pretty much 3 options. You go itch.io, you will get drowned out. You go to drive-through, you get drowned out, but you have a better chance of getting seen. You have your own personal website, but you have to deal with a lot of things behind the scenes if you want to get people to buy things. Like, it's people don't quite understand how difficult it is to set up like buying and selling and like market things, especially if you're going through like credit card sites. It's a little bit wonky. Now I guess you can go to Big Geek Emporium. I mean, fucking, we saw Dames of Astoria on there. Hell, I might put my games on there just to say they're on there at this point, because, you know, I've said some nasty things about drive-through RPG in the past, and exactly, I think there might have been a little bit of I'm not going to call it market manipulation. I'm going to say people damn well know what they're doing. I think Big Geek is trying to position themselves as the based and red pilled option to drive through. I can make a wild guess that they'll probably put out a statement within, well, we'll say a year. Money changed hands. I don't think money changed hands. I don't think that. I think it was, hey, we're going to do this thing. And the Red Room said, we're going to do this thing. And the guys at Big Geek saying, you're cool with us. Based in Red Pill doesn't even sell a little bit. That doesn't matter. Like, it's attracting a certain group of people, and that's all that's fine. Because, like, let's actually take a moment here. I'm not gonna bash Big Geek Emporium. You're a brand new fucking company, relatively speaking. Like, what games do they have? Let's actually see Red Room. You kind of even see here Red Room featured. Castle Bean. What the fuck is Castle Bean? The goal of Castle Beam is to build castles and beams. Related products, men. It's a 8 beans per player. Square Waldo. Okay. Battlefield chess. You know, Nefert and Beyond. Warriors of the Red Planet. Wretched character sheets. Wretched's actually the Red Room's character. Red Room stuff. Tower of Cinder by, you know, you kind of see right there. OSR stuff. Gangbusters. OSR. I have no idea why you guys are on here. Where's Tufty? Where is Tufty? You know what? I'm going to... Oh, Tufty! Yeah, I'm gonna fucking at him right here, right now. I'll do it. Tufty. Actually, no, I have Zen in here. Why don't I just add Zen? Zen, why are you guys on Big Geek Emporium? Why are you guys on Big Geek Emporium? Actually, you know what? I can actually ask this directly into their server, no less. Let's go to their server. I'm gonna open up their thing right here. Let me find it real fast, because I always... Everything outside, like a few core servers, get a little bit wonky. Where's Dead Tree? I know Dead Tree here. Hello, Dead Tree. Hey, let's do, hey team. Hey guys. Hey guys. What? Hey guys. What? I see you guys are running a sale on Big Geek Emporium. Big Geek Emporium. When did you start putting your stuff on there? There we go. Now, I'm genuinely curious of like what the like. Hey, boys. Hello. Hey. Let's see. Nothing being overly political really sells. Or just vitriolic. After all, storefront design didn't make me happy at all. Based in Red Pill is just a mirror of woke shit. Neither are meant to sell. They're meant to appeal to an existing group. They can clap their like seals into existence. Yeah. Mistake too many make is that they actually try to sell political shit. Yeah, it's the thing is there are people who will buy this because they like this stuff, and this isn't even categorized, by the way, because this is like a company they've always bought from. But like Battlefield chess, like what the fuck is this? I'm not being like, man, this sucks, I hate everything. No, I'm like genuinely curious. Like, welcome to Saint Cloud. This is also Red Room. Like OS, OSC, kind of see OSC stuff going on here. This a Chalt game says by Lore Mattias. It's the people who are already invested in each other. Those are the people who are buying. That's what this is. That's fine. I mean, honestly, that's how almost all these fucking things work. To be perfectly frank. The basic actually, I think I follow this guy on Twitter, the basic expert. You kind of see right over here. I follow this guy on Twitter, I think. But yeah, it's the people who have already been working with each other are working with each other. You know, there's just their ability to just sell things. Which, again, the idea is fine. I don't think there's a single... That's Zuba. I can't show Zuba. I think the idea works just fine, but it is very much the, hey, look at us, we're cool. We're not like the other guys. I've actually talked to people being like, should I put my own stuff on, you know, this? And it's been kind of wonky on it. It's very clearly its own thing, but maybe if you hop on it early enough, that could be fine. I'm seeing Slayer D20, like, the fuck? Like, there's no very poorly categorized there. That needs to get fixed up. Yeah, no, it's, hopefully they don't, like, try to position themselves as that, like... There we go. The only thing time to buy is totally epically polar opposite when the product stuff looks good. See Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah. Yeah, it's things like... See, it was even things like, you know, Atomic Heart and, like, Hogwarts Legacy. Like, it's been... It's all bad. Nobody wins. Good job. Good job, everybody. And apparently, Dames of Astoria went on there 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Like, this is brand new. I didn't actually see this last time, so... in case you're wondering, Dames of Astoria is 2 days old on BGE. Yes, the Atomic Heart stuff had some controversy because it's Russian devs. And we can't like the Sukabilots. That's a... Donate, you dragon hoarder. Yeah, we're 87% of the way of trying to desperately fix the economy. Have no fear, everybody. With the Russians, really? Yes. I mean, you gotta think about it like this. We gotta like the entire special military operation. Yeah, the entire special military operation, wink wink, is a little bit controversial, and a vast majority, it is very Russian focused with, you know, kind of some Soviet nostalgiaisms. It clearly knows what it is, and people were very mad that they weren't like directly speaking, like they weren't directly speaking against it. Therefore, they must be implicit in genocide. Like, that was legitimately some of the art. It's completely ridiculous, mind you. It's completely ridiculous in the same idea of being like, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, I hate trans people. No, that's ridiculous. That's like, of course not. It's a stupid wizard game. It's also goddamn tiring. Yes. It is tiring. It's like, no, it's a stupid wizard game. You guys made it weird. Soviet nostalgia for when Russia was strong. It's not like there is Soviet nostalgia. It's the Russians will be kind of give you a better way of looking at it. It was mostly just things were better back then, but everything was better back then. It's like that wave of like 80s nostalgia that people have been talking about. Like, have you seen on Twitter or any of these people being like, you had a great childhood if you did these things, and it was like flashes of a Pizza Hut, there was a Blockbuster showing up, like, oh my god, it was so cool. Like, no. The 80s sucked. Like, you gotta remember that, like, the 80s were terrible, but they were terrible in a different way. Like, you know, they weren't, you know, you remember the past fondly because the past was when you were younger. Things were better. Things were nicer because you probably didn't understand it fully. You were a kid back then. Things were always great when you were a kid. I have fond memories of, I have fond memories of being a child because I was a kid. I was, I was a little PNG running around having a great time, and I learned about things. I was learning, I was trying to be better, I was just doing things. Life was pretty good. But, and it's bad because, like, when I watch things, like, you see things where it's like, I see Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I immediately, like, yes, brain happy, because I loved Ed, Edd and Eddy. I have, like, that brain happy moment. Yeah, no, and I think everybody has nostalgia points. I mean, there's a reason, bringing up Latin America for slightly, like Peronists. Peronists exist for a reason. It's not necessarily like, man, Perón was a great guy. It was just the era. It was, it was just the time. Things were, quote, better back then. They weren't. The same, aspect of terrible, but it was just different. It was better than now. Everything before was always better than everything that is currently happening. Yes, there are Peronists. The modern Peronists is a kind of an interesting political philosophy. Why so many weird Russian teens have both Soviet and imperial flags in their bedrooms, because just long past when they were a global power. Well, I mean, yeah, everybody, kind of thinks of like, man, the past was a lot better. Or hell, being a kid, man, it was so much better when I was a kid. It was so much better. Things were so nice. See, that's always like one of those weird things where you got to remember in 20 years or something, there's gonna be kids looking back like now, being like, oh man, it was so much it was so much better when I was a kid in the 2020s. I mean, and you're gonna see a little bucket boomer notepad over there with a shotgun on his porch, outside his pod, being like, you damn whippersnappers don't know shit. Those were dark times. Everything was bad. We had to deal with Twitter before the collapse in the 2030s. Yeah, I doubt 2020 will be happy for people because, the virus. See, that's the weird thing, is, like, nobody... The COVID epidemic, I can say, it was an epidemic, it was a problem. There was problems. It's like, it wasn't real. It was real. And it was very real. I think the problem there was that it was just a super big combination of stupid fucking idiots collapsing in on one another to the point where nobody really won, and it was just people getting mad at each other over... It was petty bullshit at the end of the day. It could have been solved pretty early, I think, anyway. But I think a lot of people saw money, a lot of people saw dramatic things. There are kids turning 16 that talk about how great the 2016 election was despite it being elementary school when it happened. Yeah, nostalgia is fucking bizarre. But nostalgia is a warm feeling. Nostalgia makes you think things were better back in the day. Because it was always better. That innocent time when things were easier or things were simpler. But it's one of the... It's strange because... Nostalgia is a drug. And that's what happens. It's easy to be nostalgic about something. I mean, that's what like all media most media these days are playing on those heartstrings a little. Yeah, do you miss this? Saturday morning cartoons, Ed, Edd and Eddy, all these things. It was just kind of this idealized time when it was so. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You remember something, but then it's painful because you can't go back to it. I will never be younger again. Yeah, but it's. What if, here's the thing, Ethical. Here's the thing. What if I could sell you that nostalgia? What if I can sell you something to ease that pain? Hey, you like Ghostbusters? Here's a new Ghostbusters movie. Hey, you like this old game franchise? Here's a remaster of it. Hey, you like this old thing? It's back. but it's better now. Buy it again. And I think that was like the Marvel stuff. You know, I think that was like a big dopamine injection for a lot of people, because that's the problem now, is that they can start using fucking that. They can start using like Marvel as nostalgia bait effectively. That's the weird thing. Because like my crippling tism has made me immune to people selling nostalgia. I think everybody is slightly... I don't think anyone's completely immune. That's the thing. I don't think anyone's completely immune. Because you'll see... Because it sneaks up on you. That's the thing. That's the thing with nostalgia. It sneaks up on you. And it'll come back, and you'll see something weird, and it'll just be a warm feeling in your gut, like, oh man, I remember that. And then it's like, oh fuck, like, oh god, oh no, they gotcha. And that was like the funny thing. It was like, even today, you know, we were talking about like, oh, what's a good CRPG to play on stream? And someone said, my friend said, hey, why not play Neverwinter? And I do have Neverwinter. And I remember playing Neverwinter when I was younger, and it was just that little hit right there. It was like, ugh. Yeah, and it's now you're going to get fucking kids who are like, man, I was so nostalgic for Steven Universe. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh, Christ almighty. Get ready for nostalgia baiting for Steven Universe. Fucking Stefano memeverse. Back on the Infinite Grind. No, please no. Hey, I watched some clips of Steven Universe the other day. I've been getting recommended. I watched a video, and I'm like, yep, this is Shug back. Don't play the Neverwinter MMO. No. I don't think you quite understand. This is the original Neverwinter. The original Neverwinter 1. Me and my friend, we would play this all the fucking time. I would go over to his house, and we would boot it up, and we would play Neverwinter maps together. And it was really fun, and it was really like, it was a good feeling. It was a fun time. And so many like, you know, different things going on. Like, people still play fucking Neverwinter. Like, you gotta remember that people still play this game. And I think that's yeah, you can actually get like Neverwinter. I got the original Neverwinter for free. So yeah, it is fun. Like, that's the thing. And it was that, again, it was that moment. It sneaks up on you, doesn't it? Right in the behind you. It sneaks up behind you, being like, do you remember that was really fun? I'm like, oh my god, it's there. Oh my god. Sneaks up on you like a fucking rat with a knife. So let's do a quick double check. One thing I do plan on doing is we're going to be I'm going to be advancing the main timeline of this to about 1860s level tech, otherwise known as breach loading. And that's kind of the idea, because like, if you think about it, like 1860s rifles, like that was when you started seeing like repeaters in, you know, not active use, but you could see repeaters. You were seeing things like that, but you were still seeing guys in lines. You also can do a little bit with the I can also do a little bit with the Franco-Prussian War, because the Franco-Prussian War was kind of a fucking mess for everybody involved. Yeah, Franco-Prussia is such a fascinating time. It's not, you may be thinking like, wow, you're really advancing the timeline. A little bit. I think that's the kind of dealing with like breach loaders and kind of dealing with kind of the even this having like larger bits of units and stuff. I think this will be a good advancement. That this seems, oh Jesus Christ Almighty, yeah, you can tell we're dealing with some Kino ideas when we got the Poland balls in control here. Yeah. You wouldn't be looking at men, would you? Let's see. I mean, like Poland ball before now, it is cringe. Fucking yeah, Trace, yeah, exactly. Like needle guns and things like that. I could bring in a couple more different kinds of firearms for people to fuck around with. Poland balls are always fun. Like I like the original idea of the Poland ball, but now they're just so ubiquitous. It's like, okay, this isn't funny anymore. But yeah, you know, so we can do a little bit more stuff going on here with the Franco-Prussian War. What we can do as well, we can do the second Schleswig War, the second Schleswig War. We kind of do that as a kind of like the ending bit here, which if you just kind of like, if anything, I want to base a battle kind of around you, not necessarily the Battle of Diebol, but kind of around that idea of like, even having just better arms should make you feel like you're a better soldier. Like, you have the right equipment, you're going to be doing better. But a good commander with shittier equipment can still turn the tide pretty actively. But, so yeah, just advancing the lore up a little bit, I think that'll be a good thing. I'll probably have to update every single one of these to represent that. But I think that'll be fine. I will be remaking Ogre companies. And what I mean by remaking Ogre Company is explaining the background, the concepts, the kind of like the I would say the history of mercenary regiment. Because the thing is, like, during this time, there were like what we would kind of like, there were technically mercenaries during this time. There were, but not nearly as formal, if that makes sense. There weren't like free companies running around at this kind of military ascendancies. Things changed pretty dramatically over time about the idea of what a mercenary battalion kind of looks like. But it's like, how do you Mordau mercenaries? There's Napoleon, everybody. It's kind of changing the nature of that, being like, how does this world react to the idea that for as long as anyone can remember, there have been just mercenaries. Mercenaries are very common. What is an Ogre company? Ogre companies. Looking at men. You wouldn't be looking at men when Oh, we got a manly co-host. Have no fear. We even have a fancier co-host. The Cavalier would be my cool thing to have. Like, what is an Ogre company? Ogre companies in setting are effectively mercenaries. They are... You were prepared for this moment. I made a personalized manly co-host. Have no fear. That's going to be a new consistent thing for every new project. We're going to get a brand new manly co-host every time. Brand new. I even made a folder in my edits. I even made a new folder for them. One of the things is, like, the idea of the Ogre company is you are effectively a mercenary company. You are individuals who have been drafted go to fight a war that nobody else really wants to fight. In setting, the idea is ogre companies are provided for by a patron and rented out to other military conflicts. It's picture being, like you're in your homeland, you've been recruited for the army, but your boss, the prince of your area kind of comes to you and being like, okay, we're going to ship you out to this completely different army because they paid me a shit ton of money. Go get them, chief. And it's like, oh, okay. And you are not the best, you're not the most experienced, you are a batch of mercenaries they use to fill out armies. You are the first ones in. You are the first ones to die. You are the first ones to stand and deliver. And as a captain of one of these mercenaries, as a leader of one of these mercenary companies, your jobs are effectively to keep the world, keep fighting the good fight and survive. I kind of want to treat them, give the kind of more the idea of like those old free companies in a few different ways, which is a little bit more along the idea of you guys are so independent that people kind of understand. So if like you break an army and they start running away and you capture a few prisoners, you can say, hey, you know how to fight. We'll either sell you back or you can join us. Like, feel free to join us. Like, we don't give a shit who you are. As long as you fight, as long as you know what you're doing, you can become part of us. You can become part of the Ogre Company. And it's been kind of that very consistent idea of you are soldiers of fortune in an era where formalization of the military is occurring. You are soldiers of fortune. You're the first ones to die. You're the first ones who get sent in. You're the ones who do the exciting parts of the battle, not the, all right, gentlemen, rally up the lines as we throw like the Grand Army or something. No, you're a bunch of chuckle fucks whose job it is to like, okay, take this hill. But boss, I don't want to take the hill. What do you mean you don't want to take the hill? We're being paid. Fight like it's payday. Citing fucking Kruber on that one. But yeah, that's the idea of like an ogre company. More accurately, a newer ogre company will contain 2 or 3 battalions of infantry and a handful of cavalry squads. But yeah, that's kind of the idea behind them. I want to position them to be more like protagonistic, if that makes sense. If I really want to be, facetious about things, or I really want to be kind of wink, wink, nod, nod, ha, 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 I could just drop all the lore and bring it in a fucking mercenary world if I really wanted to. The setting of the strange real setting of good old fashioned Project Sidewinder, and just make it part of the same world. Being like, yeah, mercenaries are so common in the world that they've just adopted. They're just there. Everybody knows we've been at war. We've always been at war. We've always required mercenaries because it's just culture. But yeah, it kind of depends on how I want to do things, and I don't want to like spend too long in the lore. As he says, I'm spending 46 minutes talking about bullshit. I don't want to spend like pages upon pages in the lore, because when I ship this off to Osprey, I want to make that a pitch being like, the lore is important, but it also doesn't really fucking mean anything. Because it's not supposed to mean anything. It's supposed to be kind of subbed out for your preferred timeline, effectively. If you want to play sharp, I cannot stop you from playing sharp. Wait a second. Somebody's asking for something. Give me 1 second. Somebody is requesting something that I must give to inform the world. Because I am an anarchist and I do not believe in people having nice things in the world. I believe in carnage, of death, of annihilation, of abject misery toward other human beings. I do believe that there should be no goodness in the world. Genuinely speaking, there should be no positivity. Where are you? There we go. Okay. Positivity dead. You don't believe in people having nice things, which is why you spread TSL everywhere you go. Yes. As long as there is suffering in the world, I will continue. So let's see. So Eagles and Rifles. So we need to start rewriting pieces. I love rewriting bits and pieces. It's so much fun. Please. Reveal thyself, cretin. So, Eagles and Rifles. Is a tabletop role playing game about linear warfare and the struggle. Linear warfare. The struggles of combat and the drama of leadership. ENR Eagles and Rifles is played with a set of D6s. Preferably up to 6 per Colonel. There we go. Let's see. It's played with a set of D6, preferably up to 6 per commandant. Commandant. Someone on the server recommended writing short one-page story to help solidify your setting, and goddamn has it helped. Yeah, I've thought about doing like lore bits and stuff. Like this actually like little bits and pieces of story. Hell, I thought about writing a story, like an actual, like, full-on thing with one of my games, but I just kind of, I kind of just didn't feel like doing that. Is played with a set of D6s, preferably up to 6 per commander. 6 per commander, 3 to 5. Actually, it was played with 3 to 5 commanders. Let me make the tough choice. Commanders, players. Let me think. Game Master, if we want to get the idea, so we want to do, if we want to be really if we want to be kind of silly about it, a field marshal, game master, to play as non-commander entity, and facilitator of the game, a set of D6s, preferably up to 6 per commander, and an understanding of the harsh realities of linear warfare. Go. We establish something right off the bat. We give everybody an understanding, like, hey, you are a field marshal. You know, you are the, as the GM, you are the field marshal. You're a game master. The FM, actually, or FM, game master. Actually, the field marshal, game master. Act as a narrator and facilitator of the game, accept D6s, and an understanding of the harsh realities of linear warfare. Whenever a commander attempts an action, we want to do action, or do we want to do with a chance of failing in opposition to another, they'll roll a set of D6s. Take this and put it up here. Whenever a commander attempts whenever a commander attempts an action with a chance of failure, is in opposition to another, or guiding their troops, they will roll a set of D6s depending skills and modifier. Do we want to call them skills or attributes? Because if I go to, I actually base this off of fun fact. If we go to Europa Universalis, yeah, they're called abilities. Let's see. What have you? Quickly hammering a system to have for some play-by-post layer. I'm in 2 games. Have been abandoned by the DM. It's D6 based. Should I use succession rate or count the pips? Do whatever you feel like. Write a short story about one of your games. It's the game that I was debating on. The thing what happened was that I stopped and paused for a minute. I'm like, I don't know what game I want to write about, because originally it was going to be what was? Let me just open up this folder of mine. Let me open up Project Folder Dice, where it doesn't load all the way anymore because I have so fucking many of them. I'm like, which game was I thinking about doing? There was a few that I was kind of debating on. One of them was actually going to be like strictly for gameplay reasons, which was by Blade and Cross, having like a little short story excerpt throughout the story. No, throughout the, not story. A little short story excerpt between the chapters explaining each of the little bit, like this is what you're going to be doing, a little bit like World of Darkness a little bit. Project Sidewinder almost had the exact same thing go on there. Soldat Sans Identité I debated on for like 5 minutes. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Soldat Sans Identité is already stupid. It's stupid and great. I love it. There's a few that I was kind of debating on, and nothing ever really, not one of them ever panned out, if that makes sense. None of them really were like, this is it. This is the moment. There we go. We call these abilities. So if we call these abilities, dependent on their abilities and modifiers. They will attempt to hit a target number TN for a success. Do I want to change this system? Actually, no, I'm not going to change the system. They will attempt to hit a target number for they'll attempt to hit a target number for a success. This is referred to as a challenge, not a challenge. This is referred to as a action challenge check, because you're checking something, but we want to make it a little bit more because we want to use this for combat in general. This is you're making a check, you're making a challenge, you're making a, do we call it judgment? Like judgments, like are you making you're judging something? Because some of these are pretty easy. That's kind of the idea. Like some of these are pretty simple. It's just like you just need to see how well you do more than anything. It's not necessarily about, you know, if you do well or not. It's not necessarily simple. It's more along the idea of like how well do you hit? How well do you do something? How well do you do this? Challenge, judgment. We refer to this as, I guess we can stick with checks because just checking. Yeah, I guess we can keep it checks. I think that works. Keep it simple, stupid, because if you don't, you're gonna overcomplicate it with weird words that don't make any sense. Let's see. Depending on the target number first. No, okay. This is referred to as a check. This is referred to as a check. Each check. So actually, each check has a difficulty. Has a difficulty representing its overall. Actually, it has each check has a difficulty representing the effort or bypass the situation. As well as complexity representing the amount of time it goes into it. Difficulty X is the target number for the TN of the check, while the complexity is the number of successes required to bypass it. Why is the number? This checks are abbreviated as XY or difficulty complexity. So it's kind of, I wanted to like re-highlight like this is what it is. Simple. So character can score. A commander can score multiple successes on a single die by scoring the difficulty +2 on the die. The difficulty +2 on the die. For example, if a success, if the difficulty is 2. Then rolling a 4 on the die is worth 2 successes. So if the result was 6, if the result was a 6 on the die, then 3 successes. Successes are scored. Y, and then we immediately go down here and we do a quick check. The commanders will frequently actually actually no, certain effects. Actually no, we do just the very basics. Then we're going to put in the note. We're going to put a 2-sided note here. We're going to do it's called the degrees of success. It's called the degrees of success. For each success over the required limit, the commander performs better. Their troops hit harder, and their victories are more glorious. If a commander scores 5 or if a commander during personal scenes scores 5 or more, 5 has a 5 or greater, they have a glorious success. Perform above and beyond expectations. So it's kind of like the idea being like, hey, if you score like 2 successes over, you did the thing, you did better or like people can clearly know you've done better or something like that. If you score 5 or greater, then you have a glorious success and perform way beyond expectations. In any opposed check, actually, this can also reflect the degrees of failure for every success under the complexity. The commander fails harder than expected. During opposed roles, such as duels, debates. Whoever scores the highest amount, whoever scores the largest degrees of success is the victor. Is victorious of the bout. You know, whoever scores the largest degrees of success is victorious. So is the let's use is victorious. Because what we do there is we're adding in the degrees of success here. So when we get lower down here, people understand that a little bit more. You're like, oh, well, I'm just scoring degrees of success. I'm scoring better successes. I'm scoring better. Who's pinging me? No. There we go. Yeah, go team. Zowie, zowie, my bony wonies. Established that earlier on. Do we need to add anything else for gameplay wise? You know what? Let's add in 2 additional mechanics just to kind of round this out a little bit. We can add in No, I don't think we need to add in that. Because everything needs to feed into each other. That's the idea here. So does adding something like fortune or disaster really add much to the actual game? No, that's not the point. I guess adding in you know what I should add? You know, we can call it bonuses and panel. Well, I know what we can do. Favor and ruin. I know what we can do. Favor and ruin. Commanders frequently in tough situations and disastrous let's see, in tough situations and disastrous events and yeah, no, in disastrous event, commanders frequently find themselves in tough situations, disastrous events, saving us, which may result in either any favor or ruin. Favor is a +1d6 to the roll. Is a +1d6 to their roll. Roll representing fortunate result, fortunate. Or having the right tools or information, or having fortunate representing fortunate happenstance, while ruin is a -1d6 to their roll, will represent which is tied to disaster situations around them. These do multiple sources of favor or ruin may occur at once. Let's see, multiple sources of favor or ruin may occur at once. Adding and removing dice to the check. Adding and removing dice to the check. There we go. Adding and removing dice from the check to the check. Well, okay. Actually, but a commander will never roll more than 10d6 and never roll less than 1d6. Yeah, let's see. We'll never roll more than 10d6 and less than 1d6. They are mortal. But even in the midst of hell does hope shine through. There we go. kind of having a little bit of a bit here about the idea of like, yeah, like things might be rough, but like, what's a good disastrous synonym? Catastrophic, calamitous situations. Calamity. They've overrun the castle. Calamity. We do that. Insert table 2 by 2 because I've been doing it more often. We're gonna put it right there. We're gonna select all of you. We're gonna put you right there. Ooh, bada bing. Something like that. And can we shift right here? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. There we are. Do something like that, and then we add in, can we add in one more table right here? A note from high command. Whenever always round fractions down. 12.5 should be 12.5 should be 12. 12 point, actually we should say always round fractions down. 1.5, a 1.5 equals 1, a 1.75 equals 1. My command always. Go. There we go. So we just put this on one page, make it a little bit like this. We remove that, we can get a little bit more room to play around with. I think this works all right. I might switch these two around. I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Also, I'm drinking Dutch piss water, unfortunately. U.S. Copyright Office just affirms copyright. Wait, U.S. Copyright Office just to reaffirm the copyright of that comic? What? What? Send that over. Yeah, send that link over. Where are you reading that? That's actually a pretty big deal. Like I legitimately kind of just want to show people on here. I'm like, that's actually kind of a big deal. Right, you know, on the Twitter, the dude that Mid-Journey. Let's do a little bit of Mid-Journey comic book. Let's see. Yeah, says you can't copyright. Says you can't copyright images, aren't protected by copyright. Loses copyright, and loses copyright of AI created images in the U.S. Like, okay, I'm not too like shocked on that, to be honest. I'm not shocked. Well, yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying that they won. I was like, holy shit, they won? What? Okay, I see what the. Let's see. Let's see. It's a great day for everyone creating Mid-Journey. Further explain to the copyright how individual images produce a direct expression. Loses copy, like wait. Using it should not have been granted copyright protection. The fuck? This came out today. This came out today, mind you. This is Reuters. This came out today that they lose what? Oh, wait, reissued registration to emit images that are not product of human authorship. Great news. Filed copyright protection novel story, which images were arranged, covers a lot of use of people in the AI art community. The story is copyrightable as long as it's not purely AI produced. That covers a lot of use of people in the AI art community. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do. All right. It's kind of like what I'm getting from that. What I'm getting from it is kind of a three host thing. It's kind of the way they were wording it was a little bit weird. I'll kind of give you my 5-second thoughts on it. Effectively, yeah, AI art, the art isn't copyrightable. The art isn't copyrightable, but the comic is. It's by virtue of arranging it, that is copyrightable. That is by itself fine. The artwork, however, is not. But the artwork, which is part of that, in that context, is copyrightable. By virtue of being in a comic format, it's fine. You know, he has the copyright of the story. He has the copyright of how it is arranged. Because I remember this. People were like, oh, since you used it in your comic, I can just pirate your comic book and it's legal. No. I knew for a fact that would not be legal. What that means for us is AI art cannot be, like, effectively, as long as you're using it, as long as you are using it and you add your own human touch to things, it's fine. You can copyright it. I can, if I make a AI art, you know, comic book, and if I arrange the images and I write the story and I do all of that, that is a copyrightable work. Which makes sense. That's fine. It's effectively what it is because I like, oh, you put this art in. So like AI art, but Photoshop all to hell. That's where things start getting a little bit wonky. Like, yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be a thing that nobody really wants to talk about for a very long time. Fun fact, because it's, well, yeah. The thing is, larger publishers shouldn't have been using it. But for people like us, people like me, hell yeah, I'm like, hell, woohoo, win for me. Because effectively what that means is that because I've written a book and I have AI art in the book, that doesn't mean the entire work is invalid. Because, and I've told people this repeatedly, if you want to use the images, the AI art images I use in books, you can. If you like them, you can take them and you can do stuff with them. That's my belief on it. Yeah, like, yeah, things made on a budget of a hand sandwich. Yeah, like, even down to things like, it's a good thing overall. Like, it's more reaffirming a few things that I already kind of believed. Do you own... Yeah, it is a net positive at the end of the day. This is a good thing. I have a strange feeling someone's gonna fight it a little bit. There's gonna be another fight. I have a strange feeling there's gonna be another fight, and that another fight is most likely going to be, hey, it's gonna be effectively what ethical is. Let's say AI art, but photoshopped all the hell. Because here, I'll post an interesting example. An example that's somewhat difficult to think about. Let's go to here. I will just go to Museum of Artwork. Do we have any funny Museum of Artwork things to fuck around with? Oh, Risotto, my friend. Risotto. Comrade, brother. My brother in the maid. Put it in poor fucking I'll put it in poor fucking Eagles and Rifles because it's right here. This is Risotto. Risotto generated this thing that was brought up. Now, here's the question. This is AI generated, correct? Now, if I do this and hit the recolor button to this, I put my handiwork in it. I made it black and white. You may say, well, I can make anything black and white, but I put my effort into it. I said I deliberately made it black and white because, like, oh, well, what if I bump the contrast up a lot more? Well, now we've got something completely different. This looks completely different. Is this now my artwork? Because I did this. And you may say, hey, well, no, of course not. You just, use this and edited it slightly. But is it mine, though? Well, I did something with it. I changed it. I legally changed it enough to justify calling it something different. That's going to be, I think, going to be the next fight. And don't know how that one's going to go. And I can already tell you what that case is going to look like, though. That's going to be the fun thing, though. Shut up, Ethical. Shut up. It's not for game design discussion. It is for art and occasionally game design discussion. That's interesting how you make a tag product using AI art so people can filter it out. Because again, it's one of those things where, like, oh, well, I'm going to tag this as AI art so nobody can see this. But it's like, I could consider all my things completely fine. Especially if I put my artist as someone like, oh, I don't know, I know, Al Artine. There we go. That's my artist, Al Artine. What does Al do? Al's an artist. What does he do? He doesn't do very good art. He does very generic art, but he is an artist. Al Artine isn't real, but it's, it's a Chaosium said they banned AI art from their community program after consulting DriveThru. The thing is, if DriveThru does that, it's what they want to do with the art stuff, because what'll happen is it has to be self-labeled. That's the most important thing. You have to self-label it as using AI art. Now, here's the thing. If I put in a little piece of artwork, let's say I draw a circle and draw my own little image, my own little symbol there, on top of all of these art pieces, I've changed the artwork, right? Well, therefore, legally different. What's justification for legally different now? And that's where things are going to get a little bit issue, because here's the beautiful thing. How about this? Here's a thought for you. I generate something. I like it. I send it to Ethical. Ethical throws it through his Photoshop machine for 5 minutes. Doesn't really do anything. Maybe changes some shading, maybe does some fucky-wucky things. He sends it back to me. That is now human-made, right? Who are they going to check? Is DriveThru going to go through every single game and check every single piece of artwork? Because I'm going to give you a secret why that's impossible. I'm going to give you a secret why that's an impossibility. This is Sparks. I've talked about Sparks before. You may be wondering, why have I talked about Sparks before? Sparks is fascinating because this game actually has illegal artwork in it. Yes, it does actually have illegal artwork in it. Artwork they don't own. Clearly, like very, very clearly they don't own this. We've talked about it before, actually. You kind of even see over here, they're citing people like North Abyssor, and we're like Shutterstock. They cite Shutterstock for God's sakes. They're citing a bunch of people that do not actually. I wonder, do they ever respond to me? I'm curious. No, I don't think they ever responded to me. It's like, yeah, is page 6 art? Is this legal? Like, is this? They just stole artwork with it. Like, they just took artwork here. Twisted Dye Productions just stole artwork, and it's an Electrum seller. Funny how that works, isn't it? Real funny. Do they have to tag something different? Like, oh, this is illegally stolen artwork? Sorry. Actual effectiveness doesn't matter. Sending a message most decent-sized creators will listen to. Well, yes. And you want to know the beautiful thing, McDrusilt, is? Mankind has always struggled to say, fuck the system, and do it something different. How do you game the system? How do you change things? Al Artin does not appreciate his artwork being called AI, and it's not. Here's my guy. His name's Al. Al real? Maybe, maybe not. And what's the cutoff point with AI art? That's the beautiful thing, isn't it? If I take 3 AI art pieces and smash them all together, I made something new. And what are you gonna do? Double check it? That's the beautiful thing. God, I love it. I love it. I think the world's a beautiful place. And I still fucking hate artists. Okay, so let's see. Raiding the Ogre Company. The Ogre Company is a small private army built up by local princes to rent to the lords and military is desperately need for additional fighting men. Okay, so... Ogre Company is a private army. Pulled together by local princes, desperate, rented out to militaries in additional rifles and boots. Ogre companies. Some they are regarded as brigands and ne'er-do-wells. Simply brutes with guns and a basic command structure, in a basic command. To others, they are the final hope against overwhelming odds. Among ogre companies, many survive on a simple policy. If you can shoot, you can join. Some of these groups are large, barely organized mobs of men and guns, while others are Spartan warriors for hire that recruit only the most worthy. Mm. These ogres are often only supplied by their own often only supplied by their own means and moral codes to a military, often supplied by their own means and moral code. They are meant to die. They are meant to die. They're expendable. They're expendable. They are mercenary. They're mercenary. Let's see. They're meant to die. They are expendable. They are mercenary. And if they are being hired, possibly the linchpin. There we go. An Ogre company is composed of two distinct entities: man staff and the soldier. So yeah, I just want to get across the idea that like Ogre companies are weird. They are mercenaries. They are people that are hired out from anywhere. Let's see, actual effectiveness doesn't matter, it's sending a message. AI Al himself is an Instagram page with pictures of him rock climbing. None of the pictures are real. I mean, it's no mistake, I fucking hate IR with passion. It's no secret. This is why I'm going to stick with modifying public domain art for the time being. Avoid the headache. It is unfounded. It's baseless. Or you go full soul, make crappy vector art. I like the funny, more polite than most people. AI researchers belong on pikes, ball sacks first. It's one of the things is like, I really don't have a problem with any of the AI art stuff. I try to be like, I understand like why artists may dislike it. I understand kind of like the larger implications of it. I get it. I understand it. But my belief right here, my belief is very simple. I don't want a 5-course fucking meal. I don't want a 5-course meal. I want cheeseburger from McDonald's. AI art is my cheeseburger from McFucking-Donald's. Ronald McDonald is showing up with a magic machine saying, you know, hee ho, here's your McChicken. I want that. I don't want to pay for a 5-star meal. Yeah, that's a little bit wonky, but that's like the same people who are like, oh, I'm an NFT consultant. They're fictional jobs people have created and people hire them. If you hire somebody to do something, they're clearly making a hustle out of it. They're clearly doing something. People pay me to write them games. I am not a like god tier game designer. I'm the best game designer. It's, hey, you know, like, it's about, you know, doing what you can. Some people just are able to do the editing machine better. Some people are able to pump out hundreds of these images because they have a gigantic machine somewhere. It's the same guys doing the crypto shit. It's the same kind of concepts. Public domain art. I've been thinking about doing public domain for a while. The only one that I was thinking about doing with it pretty extensively was for Blood, Coin, and Steel. Mostly because like my issue sometimes is like with the public domain stuff is that you find the public domain stuff is good, but it's really only historical or some sci-fi stuff, but it has to be a very specific kind of sci-fi. Like I can't really find like public domain art for like Metal Saviors, for example. That wasn't really a thing. Work for fantasy. It works for certain kinds of fantasy too. If you want to do anything other than like European fantasy, it gets a little bit wonky. I would say like the easiest, if you want to avoid the AI art stuff entirely, and you don't want to pay for art, it's fantasy games, a specific breed. And the thing is, it's a very specific breed of fantasy. You're not looking at like Arabic fantasy at all. That's not really going to be a thing because the Arabic art is very different. You don't really get that as much. Or you end up with like paintings back in the day. That's a big one. That's what the vast majority of Eagles and Rifles used, actually. You can do retro sci-fi, some retro sci-fi stuff. Because you got to remember, anything in the 50s may still be copyrighted. Anything in the 50s. So you kind of got to rely on like what's being interpreted correctly. So it's like, okay, like let's try to find things correctly in public domain. Sometimes gets a little bit wonky. Modern stuff can get a little bit modern stuff isn't impossible, but you have to use things like Unsplash. Like, you have to use Unsplash for, like, modern stuff. And even that, like, you are kind of having to do your own stuff here. Like, for example, like, oh, hey, I want this image. I can use this. It's fine. But it's also a premium image that, it's like, I gotta download, I gotta kind of put things together for this one in particular. That's a thing that I kind of gotta understand, especially when you start getting into some of the wonkier licenses. I like this image. Why do I like this image? I think it looks neat. So if I want to download it, I got some ideas. I can download this image for free. That's just an image I can download. But if I want to do this one, I need to get Unsplash Plus. If I want to do Unsplash Plus, it's $7 a month. This is mostly used for like editorial stuff. And people may not want you editing it. People may not want you doing certain things with it. And there's a good chance you won't be able to find what you want. Like, that's a very real possibility. Where it's just like, you aren't going to get what you want. Like, I want... I want fields. Well, here's all my fields. And you gotta search through all of these. You gotta double check. Gotta make sure they're the right thing. It's like, okay, we got to make sure this is correct. Got to make sure this is correct over here. And yeah, make sure you cite the person, because if you don't cite the person, it's going to get a little bit wonky, right? Right? Yeah. Yeah, Pexels, I've never had a good exam. I've never worked with Pexels very well. It just doesn't like me, and I don't like it. Just some... Yeah, you might find sci-fi look at like old pulps. You can sometimes find it with old pulps. Sometimes. But you got to remember too, some of those may still be under copyright. An old dark I met in the back in the day when artists were saying digital art wasn't real art. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. Like, really, stock art is pain because of how hard is the void book looking schizo because of the random art. Yes, exactly. And that's kind of the issue going forward with a lot of these things, which honestly, that's where another thing like AI art does come in handy with it. Hey, I want to take this stock art I got from Pexels or something else and throw it into an AI generator and put the word sci-fi in it. I put the word sci-fi in it, and it's going to make it look sci-fi-er. Because it's trying to understand, like, okay, we have the basic image, make it sci-fi. Add some neon to it, I guess. So it kind of goes back to it. It's, there's a very specific thing you have to do. Especially because nobody wants to bring their art out for free. So of course not. Why would you want to do that? That's kind of how it goes. And people making things free is rare. Because you want to pay for people. Come on, you want to pay for people for these things. Which it's a cycle. It's a cycle, and it's a cycle nobody wins. I mean, one guy is making art with a tablet instead of a canvas, and the other is typing words into a box. Big Drusselt, I present to you a query: Is a writer an artist? That's the weird thing. Is a writer an artist? They're creating something, right? They're writing. I'm typing words into a box. That's what I'm doing right now. Is that correct? I'm not using ChatGPT. Is photography? Yeah, is photography art? They're not drawing something. They're taking a nice picture. It's using Photoshop. It's only artists are art. It's graphic designer. It's one of those problems. Like once you start trying to get into like the semantics of like what is art, and that's when you start getting things get wonky. Because if you go into like a really broad definition of art, do you consider Little Timmy's fucking macaroni art, the macaroni thing art? Maybe. Do you consider Sonic inflation porn art? Do you consider a photograph art? Do you consider someone nailing a shoe to a wall art? It's a cycle, and then you get people like what's his fucking name? I always forget. The Campbell Soup guy. Campbell Soup guy. Campbell Soup guy. Soup guy. Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol painted pictures of soup. What he did. It was one of his things. Is this art? It may be. I've made a using a tool, the other is telling a machine to do it. It's a guy who used Microsoft Word bragging about the calligraphy. When he chooses does not say anything about those skills. Or does it? I've seen bad font choices. One of the best things I've always said, like an artist is someone who goes out of his way to become an artist. You gotta be, there's very few artists in the world. I'll say that. Very, very, very few artists. And you know an artist when you see one. You damn well know. You see when that man strides into a room, he's got the look, he's got the thing, he puffs his jacket up, and he looks at the wall and he's like, I know what I can do. It's right here, everybody. It's in my head, it's art. And then he shows his brand new art piece. And you're like, my God, he's really saying a lot about society, bottom text. It's a goat. He just has brought a live goat to the art show. And you're looking at it and be like, how is this possible? And he looks at you, and he nods a little bit. And looks at it, you know, Philia. And he claps his hands twice, and the goat stands on both his legs. The goat is a man. Art. Art. That's the beautiful thing. Art can be anything you want it to be. Art can be drawings. Art can be writing. Art can be anything. So by your definition, I'm not an artist. Exactly. Anything can be an artist. Everything can be. Everyone is an artist, but no one's an artist. You know, that's what I kind of think about it. There's really no good way of saying what is and what isn't art. That's the problem. And I think that's with the argument of the AI stuff. And the argument of like the AI stuff. Is how do I want to word this properly? How do I want to say this? How do I want to? Isn't creating art, it's wrangling the machine of spirit into making something passable. That's one of the issues. It's hung up on the fact that concept of art. I think the argument has slowly shifted away from something that should actually be, mind you, should be an actual like argument of, hey, these companies own a shit ton of resources that they were able to harvest millions and millions of images as data, and the fact that our data is so open and out there, the fact that these websites that we trust somewhat slipped it into their agreements to sell our and sell our data as easily as they did. And this isn't even dealing with the fact of how, it's somewhat unethical that, how they got the data and we can't get rid of it now. It's regurgitated itself so much that it's impossible to remove that. It's like, what are you going to do about it? But the problem is, that's a very long and very complicated conversation. That's a really big nightmare of talking about things, about people, about the ethics of data, about the ethics of, about business. We're talking about way higher level shit going on here. But people didn't want to think higher. They wanted to talk about something much lower. Just clean the AI database and start over. The ethical image. You can't at this point. That's the problem, Zen. That's the problem. Because somebody on ArtStation, for example, ArtStation could have probably put in a single note somewhere in section 785, 402, subsection 3, that, hey, if you upload to our site, we're allowed to use we're using your artwork for data purposes. And then that data gets sold to somebody else, who gets sold to somebody else, who parses the information, but moves over here. And then suddenly it is ethical. That's the problem. It is ethical because you signed a contract by hitting accept cookies. You signed a contract by hitting agree to the terms of service. That's, I think, one of the bigger issues. That is an issue. That is a much bigger issue about how big these terms of services are, about how they're not being very clear about things, about a lot of different things. That's the bigger issue. But we don't want to talk about the bigger issue, of course. It's bad because it's base data sets. Well, we got to get everything except ethical images. And nobody wants that. Except I read all the EULA on a website before posting my content. And a lot of people don't, Zen. A lot of people don't. And sometimes they do sneak shit in there. You've read, sometimes they do put things as a double meaning. Well, that's not fair. Well, it is fair. You agreed to it, right? So it has to be fair. You signed your digital name on it. And you signed this. It's ethical in the same way that a guy buying a DNA test technically consents to his DNA being used to make clones. Yeah, effectively. I think a better way of thinking about it, I think a really better way of kind of understanding the nature of it is let's say, for example, I go to a store and I buy a thing. They take my picture as a guy who come into the store often. By virtue, I've come associated with the store. Do I own something of it? No, of course not. Why would I? No, that's not a thing, but I'm associated with it now. They can use me for advertising. They say I like the place. I am there now. Taking it into a broader context, if I upload an piece of artwork to Twitter, people can Google that. People can right-click it. People can move things around. And I think we were starting to see a lot of this. We're starting to see a lot. I think we started seeing this conversation crop up around the NFT stuff. The problem was the NFT people were fucking stupid. And what I mean by, kind of the idea of being the NFT people were really fucking stupid, it was the idea that I bought a link to a PNG. I bought a link to my PNG. That's my PNG. The blockchain says it is. But what if somebody took that image? What if somebody found the link, got into the image, and replaced it with a carpet? Who owns it now? That's the thing. That's the problem. It's who owns what? The second you upload something to the internet, who owns it? Who really owns it? The answer is it's kind of a fucking nightmare. Nobody owns it. Nobody does. Everyone does at the same time. It's a genuine shit show. Cloning? Oh, we're talking about cloning now. The thing with cloning will never be universally accepted. But cloning is going to be a thing that's we're going to start seeing crop up more and more in the future. I'm going to say cloning is going to be that, but it's not necessarily going to be, I'm growing my brand new super soldiers. No, it's not going to be like a fucking card carrying, Bond villain or whatever. No, it's going to be like, yeah, we're doing cloning stuff. What do you mean we're doing cloning stuff? Well, I regrew somebody's liver. Yeah, we regrew his liver using his DNA. So now he could do a liver transplant with his own healthy liver. What? You can do that? Yeah. Hey, you are like, hey, this guy's got a bad, his lung's been punctured. This is terrible. Like he's going to die. But luckily we can just grow him a new lung. Like we can grow you new parts that may be necessary. Because again, it's, the idea like organ transplant is not good. It's very difficult. And it's not reliable. You need immunosuppressants. You need a lot of things to keep them alive. What's going to happen is it's going to be, we need to regrow a part of you. And then it's going to be somebody very wealthy, very powerful who says, well, what if we, am I alive? What defines me? Am I truly alive? Mostly, and it's just like, yeah, I want to have the perfect child. Like, is it ethical to say, oh, I want to select the perfect child's traits to make sure that I'm, fine? Or do you believe in, that's kind of the question is like, is that ethical? Is that not ethical? Who knows? It's simple, but people using stuff without right, that is not the same thing. Hard to say, that's the issue. You upload it to a site, someone posts it on another site, someone posts it to another place, someone posts it to another place entirely. That's why Pinterest is so fascinating, Zemfair. Pinterest is really interesting, because you can upload things to Pinterest that you don't own. And that completely perverts the algorithm. Because suddenly it's not you posting it. Suddenly it's somebody else. And if somebody else posts it, that's another entity. If you hit Control-C, Control-V on an image multiple times, well, that's the problem. Whose fault is it then? Person A legally consented to bringing his art to the AI. He legally consented. Person B didn't. But if person A reposts person A's, if person A reposts person B's thing, who's at fault? Is person A at fault? Is the company at fault? Person B for just not protecting his fucking right at fault? Nobody wants to deal with that, trust me. Nobody wants to deal with that because nobody wants to have data harvesting go away. That's the beautiful thing. Data harvesting is very valuable, very money. Person A and the company need to remove it. Simple. Well, why would we? It's already been processed. We've made a copy of it. We've made a copy of it twice. We made a copy of it 3 times. It's now been digitized to nothingness. Doesn't exist. Don't care. That illegal, is it? It's already in the primal soup. Oh yeah, we totally removed it. We don't need to tell you that we did. We don't need to tell you that we did. That's the problem. I think that's the issue with data harvesting, is that you're not dealing with just like individual images. You're dealing with terabytes of data. That's not images, it's just ones and zeros. It's bytes, it's bits, it's nothingness. And it gets processed to 3, 4, 5 people. And nobody wants to attest it. The company, Stable Diffusion did not harvest it. Like, Stable Diffusion did not harvest that data. Stable Diffusion got it from another company who harvested that data, who harvested from another place, who got it from another place for very good reasons. Trust me, a lot of people want this. A lot of people done it. It's research. Nobody wants to fuck with that. Running to clear that big process. I know there was one. I do know there was one thing that was trying to be like, oh, is your AI thing copied? The problem is it didn't work, and it was saying like everything wasn't AI. It was just image search up. Same as non-consensual. Yeah, the tech is going way faster than we ever have any right to be. The tech has doubled. Easy, double, tripled in quality in the past 2 months. Will you make illegal deepfakes? What's illegal? That's it. It's you get things like, is it okay to use is it ethical to use a dead actor's face for a movie? Maybe. Maybe not. Ah, wait. Oh. I got a question for you. I got a moral think moment for you. I want you all to close your eyes here real fast, and I want you to picture somebody for me. I want you to picture our favorite character of all time, Indiana Jones. Temple of Evil. You know, it's think about it. Think about it right now. Think of Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford when he's pretty young. Now, is it ethical? Is it ethical for them to redo it? Okay, you know, is it ethical for him to do it? Because here's an issue: the company owns the right to Indiana Jones, and they own the right to the movie which he participated in. If Harrison Ford says, absolutely not, you cannot use my face, the studio can quickly go around being like, we own the movie. We own every still in that movie. You don't own the movie, we do. So we just used your face from it. Is that fine? Is that legal? Maybe. Maybe not. Who knows? We're living in the Wild West. That's great, isn't it? It's lovely. Don't work like this. We can believe it doesn't. But you damn well know someone very rich and very powerful can do whatever the fuck they want them. Especially when it comes to smaller actors. You signed shitty contracts. Is why the make reboot. Doing so without his permission is the problem. It's not even like permission and stuff. It's gonna get worse. People are gonna see how far they can push it. That's the thing. I mean, fuck. Half the movies being made these days aren't even actually movies. Is green screen movie making? I don't know. Everyone will soon lose their job. Yeah, pretty much. We're fucked. That's great. And that's the fun part. I love it. It's great. It's great. Wonderful. We live in a society, bottom text. The command staff of a brigade of infantry or squadron of cavalry. The command staff are the leaders of the Let's see. Without them, organization will fall apart, and the without them, the organization will fall apart, and the force will be decapitated. There you go. We want to get the idea that you are important. Each player will take the role of 3 different characters. Now, this is the thing I want to kind of debate on. Because here's one of the weird things. Because if we go under the idea of we're dealing with like a brigade of brigade French Napoleonic, like brigade Napoleon. They're a Napoleonic reenactment group. Because it pretty much is brigade size, infantry brigade. Because this is the idea, like this is the company size, like this is the company. You know, you got some basic squadrons and stuff. Like it's actually pretty small on things. Because if you do the regiment, it's always kind of hard to fucking find this because it's very obtuse at points. Because okay, we do infantry battalions in a brigade or cavalry squadron within the regiment fought mutual support one another. Infantry the main designated line or light. Yeah, you kind of see. Pretty much the idea is that you are playing like one of these, you're playing one of these brigades, you're playing one of these, you know, you're playing a cavalry squadron, you're playing a brigade of infantry. It gets a little bit wonky here because there's no good way of just giving me, there's no good way of just finding it because it's always fucking annoying in the way they word everything. Because it's not a company, it's a fucking battalion. How do I want to word this? How do I want to do? Because the organization's weird and it doesn't fucking work half the time. Random, we want to do the organization. Where's the organization? The fucking... Come on. Fuck are... Yeah, there's only line infantry. So we've already got... It's a company... For the regiment. Oh, God. You're understanding why this is very annoying at points, because you're like, you know what you want to see here, you know what you want to look up, but it's hard to get the right wording in. Because it's not the demi-brigades, because the demi-brigades don't exist. Demi-brigades are bullshit. They're not real. But then you have the line infantry. We're going to say the term regiment. Provisional troops. Oh, God. Fuck am I? Oh, what's the... What am I looking for? What am I looking for? What am I thinking of? Battalions? Establish shoulder, because you're effectively a battalion. You're relatively large. Because again, it's very wonky at points. Because we want to do Napoleonic infantry. Colonel. Not a colonel, it's lieutenant colonel. Why are you where you are? Ah! Mm-hmm. Hey man, the funny internet box. I like the funny magic AI box. Because I don't like artists. I just fucking despise artists. Every single artist belongs in, thrown off a bridge. Why don't we just throw them from a helicopter? I hate artists. Like, I just dislike artists. Most artists I've come in contact with over time, like, I've never really had really good talks with them. Let's just say that. Like, most of them are just annoying. What am I fucking looking? What am I fucking looking for? What am I looking for? I had this entire thing written out and it's just gone now because British Army during the Napoleonic Wars. There we go. Because if we go to the British Army during here, where was it? We want to do British soldier, name of the regiment, discipline, punishment. Where was the fucking? Yeah, it's. I don't. Hey, of Irish establishment. No, just tell me the fucking size of the fucking army. Yeah, okay. So there are 3 regiments of foot guards. Foot guards, each of which had 2 to 3 battalions. In the background, natural attributes. Many recruits of foot guards differ from those recruited into other regiments. Under 4 regiments of the line. They were numbered from 1961. Ultimately had 7 battalions. Let's see, a majority of regiments contained 2 battalions, while one only had 1. Battalions were dispersed throughout the army. It was rare for 2 battalions of any regiment to serve in the same brigade. Line infantry battalion was commanded by, a line infantry battalion. Line infantry battalion. Just to make sure, a line infantry battalion, Napoleonic. This is a line this is a battalion. If we I can't even click on it because it's bad. Can I click on this? Okay, so we go here. This is the company. This is the battalion. So if it's a battalion, battalion basic tactical unit with general that appear to reckon the strength of their infantry. To multiply the number of commanders and weakens the line by increasing the number of intervals. Too large a battalion is too clumsy in the advance of the evolution. Evolutions. So yeah, so this would be, you have multiple companies effectively fighting together. I don't want to do it the company scale because the company scale is too small. That's kind of the issue. Brigade size. The really autistic Waterloo fights. What am I looking for here? Like, this is a full infantry brigade, which is 4 companies. So yeah, that adds up. There'd be multiple. A full division is multiple brigades. So a battalion though is just, this is a company. So let's see. So this would be 1, 2, 3. 11, let's see. 11 times 3, that's 33, 66, 99. About 122 men. This is fine. We got the right scale. This is the battalion. You have multiple different companies. Multiple different companies under one banner, because you're not going to have like massive super armies right at the beginning. I don't want massive super armies right at the beginning, because that's not the point of the game. Because if we go to EU4, EU4 brigades, land forces is a regiment. Yeah, okay. For lack of a better word, I wanted it to be like this. It sounds kind of stupid, but I kind of wanted to, emulate EU4 in that regard, where you are being recruited in as like just a small faction of this larger conflict. So we wanted regimental game. Make choice about formation. About is disappointment. Viva the Emperor. About formation, that's what you want. Look at the game, the mother myself, brigade level. Napoleon games. Hello phone. Hello Napoleon games. Bonaparte overruns Piedmont. How to play Lever in Napoleonic battles. What fucking Osprey games are we working with? We want to do Osprey. Napoleonics. What Osprey Napoleonics are we working with? Tell me more. Absolute Emperor? That'd be the right scale? Good for you. This Absolute Emperor is pretty large, because Absolute Emperor is, because if I remember correctly, Absolute Emperor is brigade scale, right? Absolute Emperor RP, not RP. Osprey scale. Tell me more. Much about the Napoleonic War, the blue, the chosen men. Yeah, chosen men gets. This is a skirmish game. That's the issue. This is a skirmish. But if we do black powder and a few others, because if we black powder, is that what we're looking for? These factors may be absolute answer. Big battles with small armies, near and dear to my heart. Men of bronze, heirs of empire, blah blah blah. Do not give a fuck. Shooting combat, things I liked. Model agnostic, 20 millimeters. Standard frontage size allows you to use various basing media. 6 or 8 inches. This calibrates 8 inches. Many different skills modifying frontage up and down. Okay. Commission artists before, just people, Twitter people happen to be artists being Twitter people. If you think the future is bright, look at 15-minute cities, and remember Oxford has already implemented those rules and Portland is planning on it. 90% voted against it, but the mayor still signed into 15-minute city rule. Full odds they win again. Planned cities or buzzword billionaires plan out. Want to emulate a paradox wiki? Not necessarily. Just kind of the idea. The best way to think about it. Actually, you know what? We're gonna sound silly. Total War Napoleon units. Oh God. What's the scale? Like what do you Total War Napoleon unit guide. Tell me about units. What are we looking for here? Tell me more about units. German Grenadier. Well, let's do Hungarian Grenadier. Best Grenadiers world scene. Men 36 20. These are company size. But it's also fucking Total War. So maybe we do Darth Mod wiki. Tell me more about Darth Mod. Tell me more about Darth Mod. What am I thinking of? What am I trying to get in my fucking noggin here? Because I'm a fucking dumbass and I'm a fucking fool. I'm a fool. I know nothing. Like a silly clown. So this isn't right. If we go under the idea of EU force, the idea that you have a brigade, that you have a division, that you do a regiment, that's 1,000 men, but ends the idea. Brigade that is multiple companies. If you have a brigade that is multiple companies, those minuscule companies do not matter as much as a grander brigade. Brigade, that's 1,000. You might be having 500 men. You might have 1,000 men. Fucking line infantry. And do 200 men and arm in it. Yeah. Ninth Infantry. Tell me more about infantry brigades. Who ran? Command. Tell me about their commanders. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Don't give regiments together. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Tell me more about what I want to know. An infantry line battalion is commanded by that, composed of 10 companies. It which were center companies to were flank companies. What's a company size? What's a fucking company size? Company. Tell me more about companies. What are the company size units? What's a company sized unit? Company size. We want to shift things down to a company size. No, battalion size. Not a company, it's a battalion. Not a brigade, it's a battalion. I've just been using these terms fucking. Indian Army battalion. Tell me more about battalion. Okay, so 1,200 lieutenant colonels have divided into different companies. But companies is slightly different than a fucking... Which is different from a squadron. Company or battalion size. So we do a battalion, 300, 1,200 soldiers. Battalion, you have a battalion of soldiers. I want to do a battalion of men. I have a battalion of soldiers. What am I being led by? Let's see. Rifle battalion. That's a motor rifle battalion. Motor rifle company. We have different companies inside the battalion, but these are dealing with Napoleonic, so it's a little different because that's how it goes. So, mostly you're going to be led by a cohort. What? No. God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. Battalion, 300 to 1,000 men, led by a major or a lieutenant colonel. What's the major do? Tell me more about majors. Specialized executive operation officers for a battalion. Majors are often in command of a company. Yes. Hyper-effective in combat fashion. Cool. So let me learn something about different. Let's look at this. Sharp. Cool. Hey, Sharp. How you doing, Sharp? Cool, Sharp. This is really cool. We like that. Ben Sharp, Sean Bennett, Richard Sharp. Tell me more about Richard Sharp. Brandon Criminal, Central Basic, Richard Sharp from the basis of the ITV television show. Richard Sharp, blah, blah, blah. Who the fuck are you? Promoted sergeant, rewarded for completing a highly dangerous spying mission in India. An officer. An ensign, it says life commanding Arthur Wesley, the first future Duke of Wellington during the Battle of Yassy. Really constantly has to fight class prejudice, and Army's rank is purchased without regard for qualification. Cornwall sees it that he is probably present. Mostly, Cornwall sees it to it that he's probably present in many important battles of the British Empire, including the Battle of Waterloo. Brilliant but wayward and sharp sword. Skill, experience, light troops. Not sure that the Honorable Horatio Hornblower and his British series, sharp as a rogue, and a bashed thief and murder, with no qualms about killing a bitter enemy when the opportunity arises. Tell me more. Tell me more about your time, because you became Battle of Tangleford, Napoleonic France as an infantry. You met to fall in love with Lady Grace Hale, the wife of ambition, powerful Paul Marshal William Hale. In the sea battle, Lord Hale confronts his wife, having discovered her infidelity. She's forced to kill him in self-defense. Has the body taken to the deck that'll appear. Lord Hale died in the fighting. Grace sets up home, sharp and short-clipped, but dies giving birth to a child. Read by a few hours, her fortune seized by lawyers who believe he's part of Grace's estate. Ogre. It's from rank from lieutenant to captain to major, taking unofficial command of the entire regiment. Irishman Harper Rice from regimental sergeant major. So he goes from lieutenant. What did the lieutenant write? Lieutenant is... junior field rank officer. So, field officer. Tell me more about field officer. I want to learn more about field officer. Tell me more about... What's a senior commission now? The captain. Tell me more about captains. Oh wait, I forgot. Captains can be whatever the fuck they feel like. Because that's how this shit works. Because we live in Crazy Town. Yuck, 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 yuck. Professionalization of army service, name subsequent to non-appearance, nobleman who purchases right to the head of a company, a previous holder of that right. He would in turn receive money from another military service lieutenant, funding to provide his troops and monarch and government. The captain is responsible for that. Match is shared, and monarch receive money from another military to command the company. As the only pension, the captain was selling the right to another nobleman when he is ready to. Alright. I love games. I love being specific. I love being an artist. Here's what we're gonna do. The commander will take the role of a... Unless I bullshit it and come up with something entirely new. Something entirely new. Let's have another beer because I'm... Something entirely new. What do I call something that's entirely new? Do I just call them captain, perhaps? I would... Connotation isn't quite right, but the idea would be in place. You're playing a lieutenant colonel who's head of a battalion, who's head of a red, who is pretty much in charge of various companies. At this point, you're a little bit higher on the pecking order than you think you would be. So you're definitely not the head. That's the idea. You're starting. So maybe we instead go with the idea of putting you just at like major? Maybe we put you in the idea of being a mate. It's like you just start at the major. When you die, which is very likely in this game, you're gonna take the role of pretty much one now. Okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this. Let's have a moment and chat because we're friends. Ugh. What am I thinking of? What am I talking to myself about? Am I going insane? Possibly. I don't fucking know anymore. So we want to get the idea that you're going to be a individual who's going to be relatively competent. You're the head of a command. You're pretty much a commander. That's all you need to know. You're a commander. What side? Where are you? Unless we give you a special name to indicate that you are not top of the top of the world. Hey, you're not top of the world. You're just fucking idiot. You're on top of the world. Fuck. Goddamn military ranks are the most confusing fucking shit in the goddamn world because none of them make any fucking sense. If we go under the idea that everybody starts as a okay, let's just play a little game here. Everyone's going to start as a not a captain. No. Everyone's going to start as a captain. You can have a lot of men, but you're going to be, generally speaking, you're going to take the role of a, no, we're not going to do that. Do we do a lieutenant colonel? That's the only one that makes fucking sense. The scale. You're being referred to as a commander, and commander as a ship. That's where you would be. You'd be a lieutenant. You'd be a lieutenant colonel. You have control of a brigade. Since you have control of a brigade or a squadron, what does that mean? You're a squadron leader. No, wait, you're a major. Major is going to control a company. You don't quite know how big your company is going to. You don't quite know how big your brigade is going to be. So you're going to be constantly building up your brigade. Or no, it's your battalion. You're going to be constantly building up your battalion. You're going to be continuing up, building up, building up, building up. Up. Captains can be part of a squadron. You're not going to be a squadron leader. You'd be a major. Something slightly different. You'd be major, wouldn't you? You'd be a major. A commandant. Not work. Police rank used in many Spanish, Irish, and French-speaking armed forces, equivalent to the rank of major. Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Cuckoo, cuckoo, choo choo, cuckoo, choo choo. Let's think. We call them a commandant. We separate them from major. What was that scream? That scream is the beautiful land of Notepad having both an emotional revelation and a fucking mental collapse happening at once, mind you, because that's what we live in. We live in a society. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going all here. Well, my goodness. Command staff with brigade leaders of the men in the field, allowing them to push the most dire circumstances. Each commander will take the role. We'll take the role of a commandant. We'll take the role of a commandant, a leader of a in an ogre company, a leader in an ogre company, alongside their two majors. Actually, no. Here's what we can do. A leader in an ogre company. They will be accompanied. They will be accompanied. They'll be accompanied by 2 majors. Which forms their command hierarchy. Should the commandant meet their demise on the field. Of the command structure should all members of the command hierarchy of the unit, and all members die, the unit will break immediately. The men will break immediately. Renaming them the commandant. Which form their command hierarchies. Each of these individuals, people, each of them. Actually, no, because in case you want to play fucking Banner of the Mage, each member of the hierarchy of the command hierarchy are composed of three attributes, which double actually composed of six attributes, which represent their civilian and military lives. Each of these attributes can actually during commander creation, during this time, the field marshal, the FM. The field marshal may decide on how the attributes are distributed. How the attributes are determined. We do this. Attributes are determined is composed of 6 attributes, which represent the civilian military lives. We do this, we add in a funny thing table, we do 3 like this, we put you over here, we're going to do randomized, actually, the chaos of life. Order of things. Heroes and villains. So the chaos of life. Very simply, each attribute has the commander roll a 1d6. This is a roll 1d6 for each attribute has a commander roll a 1d6 for them. That results as they roll a 1d. Each attribute has to roll a 1d6, determining their result. Here's commander roll 1d6 per attribute. Is this the chaos of life? What is it? It's the chaos of life. You don't know like where you're gonna end up. The order of thing. The commander is allotted. commander is allotted, let's see, we have 6 attributes now of fire, mind, moral, social, shock, physical. If we want to say an average is, we'll say an average is 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. We say 10 attributes is allotted 12. 12 points to distribute among their, what am I saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be 12. So we're going to do, the commander is allotted 14 points to distribute among their attributes. Commander is allotted 14 points to distribute among their attributes. Actually, allotted 16 points. 16 for their commandant. Distributes 16 for their, let's see, 16 for their commandant. Their commandant receives 16, while their majors receive 14. Final one, heroes and villains. The commander. Let's see, the commander's commandant receive 1d6 plus 2. 2. Actually, no. Hello, phone. What are you looking at? Hello, phone. What do you wish to see? What do you want to talk about? So they're able to distribute among their attributes. So we want to, if we do something along the idea of like 5, 4, we do like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's 5. Maybe we do something like something like that. Like, you are clearly proficient at doing one thing. Actually, no, we can do something more. We can be a little bit more dramatic with this. So it'd be 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1. So you're average, like you're average at 2 things. You're really good at 1. So you're kind of spread a little bit. Yeah. So we want to spread something like this. Like you have something that you're clearly deficient at. Don't you hate it when something updates and you have to get used to all new arrangements? Yes, I do hate that. Because Windows updated not too long ago, and it fucked with everything, and then when I was trying to fix things to make it look normal again, I almost deleted my user folder. Don't ask how that happened, I just did, and that's been a fucking mess, dealing with the ramifications of that. Okay. So, let's see, the chaos of life, that's love, receive 16, major 14. You know, because the majors should not be as good as the commander, as the main commandant. That's the idea. The commandant is the main thing, even though technically that's the same right. If we do that, we distribute things. It's not going to be the command staff. We can do something along the lines of... personal attributes. Actually, no. Do. Change the fucking name. Okay, so we do that. Personal abilities, military abilities. So the idea is pretty much with personal abilities, like we're explaining, I need to explain a little bit, so I'm just going to put it like explain. And then we write in each of them as like this. We write them in as, so this would be, to give everybody like a little bit of an example. This would be, since these are the military, these would be fire, morale, shock. These would be our attributes over here. However, if we go up here, these would be mind, social, physical. Let's get physical. We do something like this, because if we do this, we're kind of associating everything together. We can do... There we go. So fire, morale, shock, mind, physical, social. Okay. Alright. You know what? We didn't get a lot of things done today, but I definitely did have a fucking talk. We did talk a lot for something. So I'm going to probably get this done by Friday. Yeah, Friday probably. I'll try to get this done, and then we'll move on to the skill chart. We're going through. Kind of got sidetracked on a bunch of stuff today. I'm going to call it there. So thank you all. Godspeed. Good luck. You know the rest. I will see you all maybe tomorrow, maybe not, depending on how video goes. So thank you. Goodbye.